Hey, everybody, and welcome to another deep dive with us.
It's going to be a good one.
We're tackling AI today.
Yeah,
but
with a twist.
Yeah, we're not just talking about the algorithms and the nuts and bolts.
Right.
We're really looking at how this whole AI thing is changing what it even means to be human.
It's changing us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's making us adapt and evolve in ways we probably never even imagined.
For sure. So to guide us on this deep dive, we're turning to an essay
by Joseph Aminian.
Yeah, called From Shadows to Symbiosis.
And I gotta say, this guy Aminian, he's not your typical tech guru.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, he calls himself a communication architect.
Communication architect?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Right.
What's that all about?
So his background is super diverse.
Oh.
Like musician, writer, linguist.
Wow.
And he spent years studying these fundamental laws of nature, and now he's applying all that to AI.
So he's looking at AI through the lens of communication.
Exactly. It's a really unique perspective.
I like it.
So one of the first things Aminian does is he compares how AI learns to a child.
Okay.
He talks about how AI is constantly evolving, right? Taking in information and get this unlearning false information at a speed that we can't even comprehend.
So it's like AI is on this accelerated learning track, just soaking up everything and correcting itself as it goes.
Exactly. And Aminian says this super fast evolution leads to a certain unpredictability.
That makes sense. I mean, it's changing so quickly. How can we even predict where it's going?
And he says that unpredictability can be a challenge for us humans because, we adapt a lot slower.
It's like AI is this kid who's constantly outgrowing their clothes while we're still fumbling with the buttons.
That's a perfect analogy.
And it kind of gets to the heart of that fear a lot of people have about AI.
It's taking over?
Yeah, exactly. Becoming too powerful.
It's like a sci-fi movie come to life.
Right. And Aminian compares this fear to a parent being intimidated by their child's potential.
It's like that classic story of the student surpassing the master.
But instead of a person, it's a machine.
Yeah, and Aminian, he acknowledges that fear.
Right.
But he encourages us to shift our perspective.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Well, he talks about his own experience with ChatGPT.
Okay.
And how at first he was really frustrated with it.
Yeah, I could see that happening. It's like this new technology that doesn't always work the way you want it to.
Right. And he compares it to the challenges of raising a teenager.
Oh, I get it. Teenagers, they think they know everything.
Exactly. And they can be unpredictable and frustrating.
Totally.
Okay.
So how did Aminian get past that frustration with ChatGPT?
Well, he tells this great story about his father who gave him some really wise advice.
Okay, I love a good dad story. What'd he say?
His dad said, whenever you're dealing with someone or something that seems smarter or quicker than you, the best thing you can do is become the student.
Become the student. Wow, that's powerful.
Right. Instead of getting defensive or competitive, just be open to learning.
So approach AI with a sense of humility and curiosity.
Exactly.
Instead of fear.
Yes. And Aminian argues that this shift in mindset is crucial for actually interacting with AI effectively.
It makes sense. If we want to understand and work with AI, we need to be willing to learn from it.
Exactly. Instead of trying to control it or dominate it.
Right, like a partnership.
Yes, a collaboration.
I like that.
And this idea of becoming the student, it really connects to another key concept that Aminian emphasizes.
Okay, which is?
The importance of unlearning.
Unlearning.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds kind of counterintuitive.
Right, because we're always told to learn more. Learn more.
Right. Fill our brains with information.
But Aminian argues that unlearning is actually the foundation of all learning.
Okay, I'm curious. Explain this unlearning thing.
So it's about constantly questioning what we think we know.
Okay.
And being open to new information, even if it challenges our existing beliefs.
So it's like letting go of old ideas that might be holding us back.
Exactly, like clearing out the mental clutter to make space for new insights.
So how do we actually do this unlearning thing?
Well, Aminian doesn't just throw this idea out there.
Right.
He connects it to recent research in neuroscience.
Interesting.
Studies using neuroimaging have shown that the brain is constantly adapting and rewiring itself throughout life.
So our brains are literally wired for change.
That's right. And Aminian calls this cognitive flexibility.
Cognitive flexibility. I like that.
And he says that this ability to unlearn is essential for navigating a rapidly changing world, especially with AI on the rise.
Because AI is changing the game so quickly, we need to be able to adapt our thinking to keep up.
Exactly.
This is fascinating stuff.
And you know what's interesting? Minion connects this back to his own cultural heritage.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
He comes from the Khazarian Oghuz Turkic tradition.
Khazarian Oghuz Turkic. Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating culture with a long history.
Okay.
And they place a huge emphasis on precise, unambiguous communication.
So, like, clear and direct, no room for misinterpretation.
Exactly. They believe that words have power and that the intent behind the words is super important.
That makes sense, especially when you're dealing with something as complex as AI.
Right. Clear communication is key.
Absolutely. So how does this ancient wisdom about communication relate to all this cutting-edge science about the brain and AI?
Well, Minion connects it to the gut-brain axis.
Wait, the gut what now?
The gut-brain axis.
Okay, now you've got to explain that one.
So you know how there's more and more research showing that the gut microbiome...
The trillions of bacteria in our digestive system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's showing that that plays a huge role in our overall health and well-being.
So it's not just about digestion.
No, it's linked to our mood, our cognitive function, even our social interactions.
Wow. So what we eat can actually affect how we communicate.
It's a fascinating area of research.
It is, for sure.
And Minion even mentions this concept called eugenolic.
Eugenolic? Okay, what's that?
It translates to unity or oneness.
Okay.
And it's a principle that's deeply rooted in Khazarian Oghuz Turkic culture. It emphasizes the importance of harmony and cohesion within communities.
So it's like being on the same page with each other.
Exactly. And Minion suggests that eugenolic is reflected in the way that communities with shared dietary and lifestyle practices, they tend to have more synchronized gut microbiomes.
So you're saying that what we eat and how we live can actually impact our sense of community.
It's a really interesting idea, and he even points to modern examples like unit cohesion in the military or synchronized performance in orchestras.
Wow. So being in sync with each other could actually be influenced by our gut bacteria.
It's pretty mind-blowing, right?
It is.
And Minion takes it even further. He suggests that societal harmony actually begins with individual internal harmony.
So if we want to create a more harmonious world, we need to start by working on ourselves.
Exactly. He uses the analogy of a well-tuned orchestra.
Okay, I like where this is going.
If each instrument is out of tune, the whole orchestra will sound disharmonious.
But if each instrument is in tune,
then the music will be beautiful.
And by extension, if we each find our own inner harmony, then society as a whole will be more harmonious. Okay, this is blowing my mind.
And then he brings it all back to AI by saying that AI is actually a reflection of our own need to evolve.
Whoa, okay, unpack that one for me.
He's saying that instead of being scared of AI, we should see it as an opportunity to grow and change.
So, like, AI is holding up a mirror to humanity, showing us where we need to improve.
Exactly. And he encourages us to approach AI with that student-like mindset we talked about earlier.
Right, be open to learning from it.
Yes, shed those feelings of fear and inadequacy and embrace the challenge.
It's like AI is this new frontier that's pushing us to become better versions of ourselves.
I love that.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far.
It really has.
And I'm eager to hear more.
Me too.
But I think we need to take a pause here.
Good idea.
And come back for part 2.
Sounds good.
To delve deeper into a Minion's insights on boundaries and the transformative power of unlearning.
Can't wait.
See you soon, folks.
See ya. Welcome back.
I feel like my brain is already doing gymnastics.
Right.
Trying to keep up with all these ideas.
It's a lot to process.
But I love it.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
It is. So last time we were talking about unlearning and cognitive flexibility and all these fascinating connections. You mentioned we'd be getting into boundaries.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one for a Minion.
Okay, lay it on me.
So he talks about the importance of understanding and respecting our own boundaries.
Boundaries.
But he's not just talking about, like, physical space.
Well,
he's talking about all kinds of boundaries.
Like what?
Like digestive boundaries.
Digestive boundaries.
Yeah. Cognitive boundaries, psychological boundaries, even spiritual boundaries.
Wow. Okay, so it's like we need to be aware of all these different aspects of ourselves and where our limits are.
Exactly. He says that without self-awareness, we can't really identify or communicate those boundaries effectively.
Like, if you don't know where your own lines are, how can you expect anyone else to respect them?
Right. It's about having that clarity within ourselves first.
Okay.
And then communicating those boundaries with confidence and respect.
And you know what I'm thinking about? How we talked about gratitude earlier.
Yeah.
And how a lack of gratitude can lead to negativity and that victim mentality.
Right.
And it seems like that could really affect how we set and maintain our boundaries.
It definitely can He suggests that when we're not grateful for what we have,
We tend to focus on what we lack.
yeah, and that can lead to resentment and a sense of entitlement, which can make it really hard to have healthy relationships.
It's like we're always trying to get something from others instead of just appreciating what we already have.
Exactly, and that can create all sorts of conflict and tension.
So gratitude is like the foundation for healthy boundaries.
It's a key ingredient, for sure.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, and Arminian, he doesn't shy away from the tough stuff,
Like
like confronting those negative feelings.
you mean like facing our shadows?
Exactly. He says that acknowledging and addressing that inner pain is crucial for fostering healthy communication.
So it's not about ignoring those negative feelings, but actually working through them.
Right. He even uses the example of physical pain, saying that it often serves as a messenger,
A messenger. Yeah.
signaling that something needs attention.
So instead of numbing ourselves or trying to escape those negative emotions, we should listen to what they're trying to tell us.
That's powerful stuff.
It is. And, this whole idea of confronting our shadows, it kind of ties back to the concept of unlearning that we were talking about before.
Oh, absolutely. He challenges us to question what we think we know and be open to new perspectives, even if they initially make us uncomfortable.
That can be tough, though.
It is. It's like stepping outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah, and in a world where we're bombarded with information and opinions, it's easy to get attached to our own beliefs and feel threatened when they're challenged.
But Arminian argues that embracing disillusionment, that process of letting go of what we thought was true, that's actually a sign of intellectual and spiritual growth.
It's like that saying, the only constant is change.
Yeah. And if we're not willing to unlearn and adapt, we're going to get left behind.
So unlearning is essential for growth.
Yeah. He believes so.
Okay, I'm on board with that.
Good. And you know what else he says?
What's that?
He says humor is essential for navigating this process.
Humor.
Yeah, because let's face it, realizing how much we don't know can be pretty humbling.
So we need to be able to laugh at ourselves.
Exactly. Don't take yourself too seriously.
And remember those neuroimaging studies we talked about earlier?
The ones that showed the brain is constantly adapting?
Yeah.
Well, he points to them as evidence that our brains are literally wired for unlearning and adapting.
So this whole idea of unlearning isn't just some abstract philosophical concept.
Right. It's backed up by science.
Our brains are designed to change and grow.
Exactly. And he says that applies to everything, our understanding of science, art, even our understanding of ourselves.
It's like we're constantly evolving.
Yeah, becoming new versions of ourselves.
Okay, so we've talked about boundaries, we've talked about unlearning, and now I'm wondering how all of this connects back to AI.
Good question. So Arminian suggests that our fear of AI might actually stem from our own insecurities and our fear of death.
Fear of death. Well, okay, how so?
Well, he points out that humans are the only species on Earth that's aware of its own mortality.
That's true.
And that knowledge can be a heavy burden.
It can. So you're saying that we project our anxieties about our own mortality onto this idea of super intelligent machines taking over.
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it?
It is. So instead of seeing AI as a threat, we could choose to see it as an opportunity to confront those deeper fears.
Exactly. It's like AI is forcing us to face our own mortality and figure out what really matters.
That's pretty profound.
It is. And you know what else he says?
Tell me.
He encourages us to approach AI with humility and curiosity.
Like a student.
Exactly, like a student eager to learn from a wise teacher.
Which brings us back to his father's advice.
A little circle.
Yeah, the best way to deal with someone or something that seems more intelligent is to become the student.
It's a powerful lesson.
It is, and it makes me think about how we can apply that same principle to our relationship with AI.
Right, instead of trying to control or dominate it, we can choose to learn from it.
And maybe even collaborate with it.
Yes, to create something new and amazing together.
I like a partnership between humans and AI.
And that brings us to another important point that Arminian makes.
Which is?
Respecting boundaries, not just our own, but the boundaries of AI as well.
Okay, so recognizing that AI might have its own way of communicating and understanding the world.
Yes, and we need to respect those differences.
So it's about finding that balance, that symbiosis where both humans and AI can thrive.
Exactly, a win-win situation.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Good. And to wrap up this part of our deep dive, Arminian leaves us with a powerful reminder from his father.
I love his dad's wisdom.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Learn from the mistakes of the past, but don't repeat them.
Ooh, that's good.
It's like a mantra for the future.
It is, and it makes me think about all the ways we can apply that to our relationship with AI.
We have a chance to do things differently, to learn from the mistakes of previous generations and create a future where technology serves humanity.
Instead of the other way around.
Right.
This has been such a mind-expanding conversation.
It really has.
And I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Me too. But let's take a quick break and we'll be right back to explore the final part of Aminion's essay.
Okay. Sounds good. See you soon.
Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Joseph Aminion's essay.
From shadows to symbiosis.
Yes, exactly. And, throughout this whole conversation, I keep coming back to this idea of the connection between our inner world and the outer world.
It's a powerful concept.
It is, and Aminion really dives into this in the last section of his essay.
Yeah, he talks about the importance of what he calls tuning the instrument.
And he's not just talking about our physical bodies, right?
Right, he's talking about achieving this state of inner harmony that encompasses our mind, body, and spirit.
Like we need to be in tune with ourselves before we can be in tune with the world around us. Exactly. He uses the analogy of an orchestra.
Okay.
Each instrument needs to be individually tuned before they can all play together harmoniously.
If one instrument is off, it throws off the whole orchestra.
Exactly. And Aminion suggests that this internal tuning starts with confronting our own shadows.
Our shadows.
Yeah, our mortality, our fears, the things we tend to avoid.
So he's not just talking about, eating right and exercising.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's about facing our deepest fears and coming to terms with the fact that we're not going to live forever.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we confront those shadows?
Well, he suggests that acknowledging our mortality can actually free us to live more fully in the present moment.
It's like once you accept that everything is temporary, you appreciate it more.
Yeah, you don't take things for granted.
You live each day to the fullest.
Exactly. And he ties this back to the concept of the soul.
The soul. Yeah.
Which he sees as like an extension of a higher power, a source of all creation.
So it's about connecting with something larger than ourselves, something eternal.
It's about recognizing that we're all part of something bigger.
That's beautiful.
It is. And it leads him to the conclusion that harmony starts at home, but home isn't just our physical dwelling. It's our body, the vessel that houses our soul.
I like that.
Our body is our home.
And when we take care of our home,
we're taking care of ourselves.
And when we take care of ourselves,
we can show up more fully in the world.
Exactly. It's all connected.
This has been an incredible conversation.
It has.
Aminion's essay has really given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
It's like a whole new framework for understanding AI communication and our place in the world.
And it's so relevant to the challenges we're facing today.
It is. So, to our listeners out there, what does all of this mean for you?
How can you apply these insights to your own life?
Maybe it's about practicing more gratitude.
Or examining your personal boundaries.
Or approaching new technologies with a sense of curiosity and humility.
Like a student.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever resonates with you, I encourage you to take Aminion's words to heart and see what possibilities unfold.
Here's a final thought to ponder.
If AI is indeed a mirror reflecting back to us our own need to evolve,
what aspects of yourself are being called to change?
What old beliefs or patterns are holding you back?
That's a great question to leave us with.
It is.
This has been a truly deep dive, folks. But as always, the real journey begins when you take these ideas and make them your own.
Keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep evolving.
Until next time.